Hey, it's Ethan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Flint Hill Goods aluminum 60 by 22 inch Hitch Cargo Carrier and how it fits on our 2022 GMC Sierra 1500. So with the 1500 we do have a good amount of space in our truck bed, but maybe you want a little bit of extra storage on a longer trip. Maybe you just want something that's easy to load in bags of mulch or dirt, gravel, whatever it is. It might make a mess inside your bed that you'd rather not deal with. This is a good way to extend that storage or get some larger, messier items out on the back. So let's take a closer look. As I mentioned, the carrier is made of aluminum, so it's really lightweight, but it's still able to support up to 500 pounds. So it's still going to be able to get a good amount of weight where you need it to go. It's got this grid design on the inside, so you can store some smaller items-ish, but you still have enough room for that mess to fall through. We have rails that go around the outside, as well as points on the inside for you to tie things down to. That being said, because these are aluminum and they are kind of thin, when we've been testing these, if we put any sort of real pressure on there, they do flex pretty easily. So we'd honestly recommend maybe not using that if you want to put your straps there. We'd rather use the outside rails if that's an option for you. As far as ground clearance goes, it's basically going to be straight out from wherever your shank sits, so that's how much room you're going to have. In the case of the 22 Sierra, we have 18 inches of ground clearance to this lowest point. It's probably going to move down a couple inches once you start loading it up with gear, so be mindful of that. Also, we are going to be adding on a good amount of distance to the back of our vehicle, so I'll measure that too just to see exactly how much. So from the bumper to the furthest point back, it's going to be just under 30 inches, so it does stick out a good ways, but obviously that's what you're going to be using it for. You need a little bit of extra storage, so you'll sacrifice that to get that storage. But even though it does stick out quite a bit, at least we have a couple of reflectors on the front so people behind you know it's there if you're driving at night. The carrier uses a 2-inch hitch that fits into our 2-inch hitch receiver. It's held in place by this 15/16 anti-rattle bolt and a clip on the end. There is a locking bolt available as well if you want a little bit of extra security. And the 15/16 anti-rattle bolt does a good job of taking a lot of the side-to-side movement out of the carrier. With some of the smaller bolts and the same style of carrier, we get a lot of shake up and down, so that's really nice to see. But it'll also help once you start loading it up with gear, taking any more of that out of play as well. While we're down here, we usually just like to check out the exhaust and see where that's coming from to see if it's going to potentially damage any heat-sensitive items we might try to bring in our carrier. For the case of the Sierra, the exhaust is down and is pointed away, so it's not a big deal in our case at all. As far as having access to your truck bed goes, it sits far enough away that I can squeeze back here if I wanted to and reach over the back. But if you have a tonneau cover and you need access, we still can lower the bed or the tailgate entirely. It's not going to make any contact with the carrier. We found that we have about 7.5 inches of clearance or so. So if you want to load up some really small items in the front and still have access to it, you can, but you're going to take away some of that height if you want to be able to fully lower your tailgate. Here we are on our test course. As we hit the alternating bumps, you can see what it would be like to hit a pothole on the road. Our solid speed bumps simulate pulling in and out of a driveway or hitting a speed bump in a parking lot. We use the slalom portion of our course to simulate the side-to-side movement, such as turning corners or evasive maneuvers. So again, overall, if you're looking for a lightweight storage solution to get a little bit more room or some larger or messier items out of the bed or the cab onto the back, this is a great option for you. Flint Hill Goods makes these in different shapes and sizes, so you can find one here at eTrailer that works best for you. There are a couple that also have ramp options if you need a little bit of help loading and unloading some heavier items like scooters, wheelchairs, generators, or you just need a little bit of help getting them up. And then this can be a temporary spot, and then you can lift them to the tailgate from here. There's a lot of different options, different reasons why you might use a carrier like this. This was just a quick look at the Flint Hill Goods 60 by 22 inch Hitch aluminum cargo carrier and how it fits on our 2022 GMC Sierra 1500.